Hi guys! So today I am doing my 2015 reading goals. I'm hoping that 2015 will be a fantastic reading year for me, and I have a few goals that I've set that I want to achieve, so I have quite a few things to talk about and I'm just gonna get started. So the first little project I'm doing I'm going to be calling Cut the Penguin, which is basically me trying to cut down on my Penguin English Library TBR. I own 14 Penguin English Library books and I have only read 4, or I had only read 4 at the beginning of the year, but I've read another one now. I'm setting my goal at 6 Penguin English Library books this year, which means I need to pick one up about every second month. I think that's a very feasible goal, so I'm gonna go with that. These are all of my Penguin English Library books, and there went one, yeah. So these are all of my Penguin English Library books except for The Picture of Dorian Gray, which just fell on the floor. I'm going to show you guys the ones that I haven't read, and those are the ones that I'm going to read this year, hopefully. These are in alphabetical order, sorted from author, so I'm going to start with Villette by Charlotte Bronte, Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe, Our Mutual Friend by Charles Dickens, which is a big book, The Mystery of Edwin Drood by Charles Dickens, New Grub Street by George Gissing, Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, Dubliners by James Joyce, The Murders in the Rue Morgue and Other Tales by Edgar Allan Poe, and finally Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. I've made a tiny little TBR jar for this, so I will be picking a book from here every second month or so I basically have 2 months to finish that book. And I will probably need that, especially with Our Mutual Friend, which is like 800 pages long. So yeah, I'm really excited to cut down on my Penguin English Library TBR because it's just sitting there on my shelf, all of those books staring at me saying, why haven't you read us yet? And I will. The next reading goal is about Doctor Who. I own a lot of Doctor Who novels, but I've read maybe half of them. I only had 5 Doctor Who books that I hadn't read, but then one of my friends went and gave me like 8 for my graduation. So now I have 13. These are all of them. I'm not going to go through them because most of you probably aren't Doctor Who fans. But these are all of them that I need to read. And my goal is to read all of them this year. There are 13, like I said, and I'm hoping to be down to 0 by the end of the year. These are really easy to read. I read them in about a day, so I mean, it's not going to be a problem. I read one a month. It's going to be really easy, but I really want to do it because I feel so guilty having these on my shelf and not reading them. Oh my god, I'm almost dropping them. So I mostly read books in English by English authors or American authors, and I have recently felt like I should read some books from my own country. I'm Swedish. I just haven't read that many Swedish books. I haven't read like the Swedish classics that you're supposed to read. So this year I'm starting a little project for myself, which I'm going to be calling Project Read Swedish, I think. If I come up with a better name I might change that. So I went on the interwebs and did some googling, and I managed to find a list of 100 books, like Swedish books you need to read. They are kind of Swedish classics or mostly 20th century literature. I printed the list out and I marked which books I read. I kind of thought I wouldn't have read any of these books, which would have just been embarrassing, but I had read 5, which I'm not happy with, but since I thought I would have read like 1, I'm kind of pleasantly surprised. 4 of these books I read for school and 1 I read when I was younger. I think that a lot of these books are on here because there are a lot of Astrid Lindgren books. You probably know who Astrid Lindgren is. If you don't, she was a brilliant children's literature author from Sweden, and she's written Pippi Longstocking and a bunch of other books, and I believe I've read them when I was a child, but I can't really remember reading them. I can mostly remember watching the film adaptations and things like that. I know for sure that I've read one because I read Brothers Lionel for school. Other than that, I don't know. I've got to see one a month. I want to eventually make a video about Swedish literature and recommend some Swedish literature to you guys, because I don't feel that Swedish literature is read enough around the world, and there are some really brilliant Swedish authors that I think that many people would like. So I really want to make a video about that and tell you guys about some brilliant Swedish books. I asked my mum to look through the list and pick out the books that we had, and and we had a few, like 5 or something like that, so at first I'm going to be able to just read the books I have at home, but then I'm going to go to the library. But I have a few books that I found at home, like I said, and the one that I'm going to read in January is Her Honest Hoard. This is in English, surprisingly. I found this, or my dad found it actually, in our bookshelf, and it was really surprising because we have no English books. My mum and dad do not like to read in English, especially my mum. I'm the only one in the family that really likes reading in English, and finding this was just so surprising. It's such a cute little book. It's super short and it's beautifully published. This is what it looks like without the dust jacket. Really nice. So this is by Selma Lagerlöf. She is a brilliant, or was a brilliant Swedish author. She got the Nobel Prize, I can't remember what year, but early 20th century I think. And she's really well known. And this is one of her shorter stories. And I thought I would start with this one because I have a lot of other books that I need to get through in January. So a short one like this will be no problem to get through. I'm really looking forward to read some Swedish literature, and I can't wait to tell you guys about what I read. The final real reading goal that I'm going to talk about is a reading challenge by Pop Sugar, which I've seen all over YouTube recently, or BookTube anyway. It's a list of, I think, 50 kind of prompts that you're supposed to do, like read a book by your favorite author that you haven't read yet, or read a book that's set in the future, and things like that. I made a TBR jar for this, and I have all of the thingies in here, and I think I'm gonna draw, like whenever I don't know what to read, I'll just draw one from here. I'm gonna mark in the list like when I read, because a lot of the books that I read fit into this list, but it's gonna be fun to kind of draw one every now and then, and if I draw one that I've already done, I'll just throw that away and draw another one. I think I'm gonna be able to get through this list quite easily because the prompts that they have are kind of for books that I would read anyway, so I think that this will be fun and just, yeah, fun. I also saw Tanya from List Obsessed Reader talk about the Book Riot Read Harder challenge, which I was very interested in. I looked at the prompts from that one. It's very similar to the Pop Sugar challenge. The prompts were a lot harder, I thought. Like, I didn't see myself having the books that they were describing. It's a more challenging list, which is kind of interesting, and I think I'm gonna go through the year and just, as I read books, just look through and see if I can, you know, tick them off and maybe start reading more actively from the list at the end of the year, because there were some really interesting prompts that I would want to do, like read someone who identifies as LGBTQ. I need to read more diverse literature, and I think that that was a very good challenge, so I might do it more actively at the end of the year. I will have to see. I'm going to link both the Pop Sugar Reading Challenge and the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge in the description. If you want to check them out, you're free to do so. I hope you guys have a really great day, and let me know about your 2015 reading resolutions or reading goals in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video.